Good Friday morning. My name is Jerry Miller. Welcome to Real Talk. This is an insider's guide to real estate across Charlottesville, Central Virginia, Albemarle County, the Commonwealth, the country, in the world. It's powered by the Yes Team Realtors, Keith and Yonna Smith, trusted real estate partners in the real estate game. Today's guest, I think, needs very little introduction, yet we're going to do it anyway. Her name is Elizabeth Cromwell, the Chief Executive Officer of the Charlottesville Regional Chamber of Commerce, someone in a very short time who's made a very huge impact in our community. We're so excited to showcase her today on Real Talk, but before we do, Judah Wickhauer, the two-shot, my friend, we have to welcome the Dapper Don, Keith Smith. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, Jerry. We've got to come up with a different moniker.
I like it.
I know you like it.
I think you secretly like it too.
Don't tell anybody.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. I'll tell you, I've been looking forward to this conversation with Elizabeth since the time that I first heard her speak. I'm trying to remember how many months ago. So this is exciting. We've just had a cup of coffee, and there's some interesting things that I learned about Elizabeth that hopefully we'll get to chat a little bit about. So I'm going to let you take it over and do the intro, and we'll start having a great conversation.
All right, give it a like and a share on any of the 12 Facebook pages you're watching. If you'd like to relay some perspective to Elizabeth, put it in the comments section, and I will pass it along to her. Judah, studio camera, and then the two-shot on Elizabeth and I, my friend. Elizabeth, ¿qué pasa? How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
I'm
a big fan. Big fan.
All right. How about we do this? You have made, I think, fantastic inroads already in this community. But for the few who do not know you, who is Elizabeth Cromwell?
Well, I'm sure there are more than a few who don't know me, but thank you for that welcome. I have been living here in Charlottesville for about a year now. I came here to become the president and CEO of the Charlottesville Regional Chamber of Commerce, which is right across the street from where we are right now. And it's been a great year. I have spent most of my time, I hope, listening. I know I've had a lot to say as well, but I think that it's really important for me to learn what this business community cares about, what the community at large cares about, and alignment can be found. And I think I've discovered that there's a lot of places where alignment can be found. And so at the Chamber, we are super excited about the coming year. We've got some new things in the works. We're going to honor and thank a few things that we've done in the past that we don't really think are necessary anymore. And so we've got a nice evolution going on.
I love it. So how about this? I love everything about you said. You are an evangelist for small business owners, just like Keith and I. We know how difficult it is to be a small business owner. It is brutal, brutal, brutal. We need all the support we can get. How about, before we get into the nitty-gritty and pass it to you, Keith, what are the passions and hobbies and interests from you from a personal standpoint?
Oh, from a personal standpoint, I have really enjoyed discovering Charlottesville. I've got a map at home, and on those occasions where I have a free weekend, I try to kind of drive out a different spoke and discover, different sections of the community, and love hiking, love being outside. I love live music. I know there's a lot of festivals, and I'm looking forward to, when the weather gets a little warmer, discovering more of the great bands around here. And I love food, and that's evident.
You're in the right place.
I've discovered about 25 pounds worth since I got here last year.
Yeah, right, Elizabeth.
That's why I'm at the gym.
I like it. Yeah. I think our next series of shows we're going to have to be doing that while we're all working out, because I've gained about 20 pounds.
It's this town.
So what's a map?
She's an explorer of our community.
I'm an explorer, yeah.
So we were talk about exploring community, and I think one of the things you like to do is travel, because you just came back from a great trip overseas in Europe. But we were having a cup of coffee, and we found out that we were actually at the mid-'80s, I won't give the year, at the same place. Right, in Sarajevo, in the former Yugoslavia.
Cool.
I was doing what I was doing, and Elizabeth was doing what she was doing.
He was working, and I was playing.
Small world.
A little bit. Yeah.
Well, work is kind of a loose term. But so it was pretty neat. Every time we sit down before the show and I have one of these coffee chats or coffee talks, talks, right? Sorry, the Yankee accent really came out on that one. I always learn something new and exciting about the guests, so thank you for sharing that with you. So this month's focus has been on looking forward, right? We've been focusing for the first 3 weeks on real estate, what the forecast is. And we've had some really dynamic folks sitting on the other side from us talking about that. And I thought today would be really great to kind of focus from the Chamber's perspective, right? Mm-hmm. What the Chambers is doing and how it can help, as Jerry said, foster business. We're all in this as a team. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit of an open-ended question, but just see where it takes us. And if you have any thoughts on that, that would be great.
Sure. Well, as we discussed earlier, I know real estate is certainly a relationship business. And being able to, convene lots of professionals together on a regular basis is really something that the Chamber is great at doing. And so from my perspective, I think that 2020 is going to be a strong year.
Me too.
For our business community. I know, and you've done some really interesting programs about some of the, restaurants and breweries and things going under, but I don't think that's indicative of the overall market here. No. I think it's, there's some saturation and other things happening there. We see a lot of growth. We see a lot of new companies. We've done a ton of ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings, and I think those are just like really concrete examples of people moving forward. So we're real excited about the upcoming year.
So as a CEO, mm-hmm. What is, CEOs, our roles as CEOs is kind of visions and goals and guidance. 2020 and beyond, do we have some big picture visions and goals for the Chamber?
I like that one.
Ooh, yeah.
I studied this morning.
I like it.
Well, I have to say,
I also think she's just so awesome to listen
on point.
to. Oh, God, love it.
I'll come here every day, guys.
That's right.
Coffee and props.
I like
right?
That. Yeah, thank you.
And we can throw some liquor in there if you want.
That afternoon, anytime after 12. So, no, I think that for the Chamber and the business community at large, what I'm really looking for and what I think our board is really excited about is alignment. And, I think we've got, just to give you an example, internally at the Chamber, we have a variety of roundtables and councils and groups, and they're all doing great stuff specific to their industry or sector. But I think this is the year where we're going to start bringing them together and saying, if these three groups are all trying to achieve the same thing and they're not necessarily supporting each other or communicating as effectively as they could, that's where I think we can make a big difference. And we're already starting to see that happening. Just for an example, I mean, the County Office of Economic Development, the City Office of Economic Development, UVA's Office of Economic Development, and the Chamber are now meeting regularly to talk about kind of a shared vision for more working together on projects. So those are the kinds of things that I think are going to make a big difference in the coming year.
So I'm super excited to hear that, and that was kind of one of the things I really wanted to explore during this conversation. As you may know, and we talked about this at breakfast, I sit on a couple of committees, and one of them I chair, which is the Regional Housing Partnership. Mm-hmm. And the intent of that was to do exactly that, to bring these four pillars specifically for housing, but we have the public sector, which is the governments. We have all 6 jurisdictions at the table. We have nonprofits. We have all the nonprofits at it. We have the private sector, which I think I'd love to invite either you or some of your teams to show up to our executive committee meetings. Mm-hmm. I think it's really important that the Chamber has some representation there, so I guess I'm in front of a lot of people throwing that out at you.
Great.
Yay. Thanks, Keith. I told you this was going to be easy. Yeah. And then we bring in the actual people who we serve, right, into that. So I'm excited about it. We talk about this on the show quite a bit, and I'm glad to see you're doing it. The skill I think that you bring to the table and the Chamber brings to the table is bringing folks of different thought together to achieve for us. So my hat's off to you.
Thank you. And just to that point,
Sure.
I know I'm interrupting you, but
No,
I think
no.
it's so important as a community to understand everybody's motivations and goals. And there are times when you can find alignment to run with it. And when you can't find alignment, not everybody's always going to agree on every issue, and that's okay too. That's really important to me, is to have a respect for differing opinions and to understand that we're not always going to be in lockstep. And when we are, that's when we can really get stuff done. And when we're not, that's all right. It's like a big jigsaw puzzle. You go to another part of the puzzle and work over here for a little while till this other piece becomes more clear.
That's what I love about you guys. It's like what we're trying to do. You're like a liaison or a conduit, a connector.
Yes.
Apolitical.
That's what we want to be.
You want to be someone that can magnetize two parties that are close to finding synergies or foundation and bring them closer together in the middle and say, here's the harmony you're looking for. Let me direct you and be your compass or North Star to that harmony.
You said it better than I did.
I mean,
That's
it's
exactly
wonderful.
right.
We
That's
need
it.
more of that in
Yes,
Charlottesville.
totally agree.
And the beautiful aspect about doing that is it's fun.
It's fun.
When you do it the right way, which you obviously are, isn't it just fun to do your job?
Yeah, well, I still have a lot to learn here for
Yeah.
sure. We were very productive in my last community.
Frederick,
in
Maryland?
Frederick, Maryland.
They're watching right now.
Are they?
Can I tell you who?
Sure.
You want to know?
Yeah.
You're getting props right now from Teresa Rogers-Cochran. Love seeing Elizabeth shining. Charlottesville, so lucky to have her.
Aw.
You're getting props right now from Patricia Schultz, Guy Fletcher,
Wow.
Natalie Ann, Bill Cartwright.
Hi, everyone.
The list continues to go. I count 4 different states watching the program right now. Andre Xavier, CEO of CVille Hop On Tours, watching now. Terry Cadell and Ray Cadell from Ray Cadell and Associates watching right now. John Neal, the commercial real estate broker,
Oh, cool.
watching right now.
Yeah, it's just amazing how honored I am. It's just, this started off with just me and you having a cup of coffee and BSing with somebody, and it's just honoring that it's just, I'm flattered that folks are taking time to do that. I'm stuttering. Look, I'm so so flattered. But I do want to shout out something that the chamber, along this bringing people together, the Leadership Charlottesville program. I'd love to spend a little time talking about that. I'm a graduate. My wife's a graduate. I took it in 17, I think.
Yeah.
I may have my years wrong. But it was interesting because, my wife said you should do this because she graduated the year before. And I said, I know all this stuff, right? I did not. I thought I did, but I didn't. But what was really great, it brought all these, the best way I describe it as, there's type A people, and the people that take these are the type A. And it was really neat. It was really neat to see how that was navigated. And I won't give any away because there's some secrets to the program, and you have to take it to understand it. But it rocked my world. And, if you are in any space, right, doesn't have to be business, right? There's local governments, so forth and so on. I would encourage you to put your hat in the ring on that.
Well, thank you for putting that out there. It is a fantastic program. We hear that a lot from people who are actually born and raised here, that they think they know, what else is there to learn about the community that I don't already know? And every single time, every session, they walk out and say, wow, I had no idea. So I think it is remarkable.
I can testify that. I kind of
Yeah.
walked into a session, I know all this, and I went, whoa, I don't know nothing. So
Yeah. Well, and the alumni, it really is kind of a who's who of this community. And so I completely agree with you. It's not only a great program when you're taking it, but it also has this very long tail of relationships. And, the people who dig in to really do the heavy lifting in this community, many, if not most of them, have been through that program.
So you just turned the tables on me, because now I feel guilty for not going for those races.
That's all
well,
right.
well
Full house.
done.
We
You
had
didn't.
full house.
Well,
Yeah.
well done.
No,
Well
no
done.
worries. I think it's the kind of program you take from it what you
Yeah,
need
no.
from it.
I
and
need
you
to be
give
more
back.
engaged
A lot
in
of people
that.
get
So
back
thank
too.
you for reminding me.
Yeah, no, it's great.
This portion of the show, thanks to Marie Bett. They're
Oh, yeah.
drinking Marie Bett right now. Water Street, Rose Hill Drive, Jason and Patrick doing amazing things, Keith Smith.
just love the heck out of those guys, and we joke about it all the time that I think I own stock in there because I go there so often, but they just get it. Again, we're talking about business, right? They just get it. They're really great business people, but unbelievably skilled at giving back to the community, and I just love them to death.
John Cosby says hello. Welcome to the program. Neil Williamson watching the program. Kevin Proctor, Kate Elwood, Stacy Brookman, a lot of people right now. We're going to throw this comment to you here. So I own an advertising agency. An advertising agency is essentially confessional for businesses. I sit over there maybe 20 times a week meeting with business owners, entry cap, startups, mid cap, large cap, businesses doing $14 million a year. And I hear the good, the bad, and ugly of their business. What you do, a lot of ways, confessional for business owners as well. So I love being able to, dot the I's, cross the T's, compare some notes here. What are you seeing for 2020? Maybe why you think the Charlottesville economy is going to be strong. Maybe some sectors or business categories that are emerging, and some trends we should potentially watch out for. A lot to unpack there.
There's a lot to unpack.
Anywhere you want to go.
Oh, man. Well, I think from the Chamber's perspective, I think that we can be offering more, certainly in the hospitality sector, because I think that's when you're looking at hotels, restaurants, wineries, breweries, distilleries, event venues, I feel like they are such important contributors to the economy, and we are going to try at the Chamber to help them speak with a more common voice about their needs, about what is going well for them, about where the community can jump in and help. I mean, there are a lot of job opportunities in that industry. So that's one area where I see we're going to certainly be keeping our eye on and helping grow. One other area, and again, it comes back to the conversation we had earlier about the city and the county and the university all working together with the private sector. We will be making a hire very soon through our Defense Affairs Council. So that's one of our roundtables of the Chamber. And as I have been sitting through their meetings throughout the year, I've learned that the defense industry here is a pretty major portion of our economy. There's a lot more of that here than I realized. There's also a lot more veterans that I realized, a lot of veteran-owned businesses, and a lot of veterans in the workforce. So the community has come forward to fund a position for the Chamber. This is a revenue-neutral hire for me.
Nice, the best kind.
The best kind, but
Yeah.
this is the Albemarle County, City of Charlottesville, Greene County, UVA Research Park, and a number of other private donors that have said, we really want to try to grow this portion of our industry here in this area. So I think we're going to start to see from the Chamber's perspective, that may be the first of maybe there will be more hires like that are industry specific with the intent of growing the economy.
So thank you for sharing that. We're honored that you shared that on our show. So thank you very much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
As a vet, that kind of rang home for me, and so anything from my perspective that I can help and participate in it, please ask out. Is my wife watching?
She is watching, and she's got some comments for Elizabeth.
Oh, no more volunteer time.
Well, the Defense Affairs Committee they meet quarterly or every other month,
Yeah.
I can't remember,
Sure.
Up at UVA Research Park, and it really does bring together the public and private sector to help spur that
So
economy.
before we get to questions, it seems to me, from our real estate side and helping people buy and sell houses, it seems to me that the tech industry is growing quite rapidly here in Charlottesville.
It's booming.
So any thoughts on that from a Chamber's perspective?
Yes, what I hear consistently from that sector is talent. That it's, you think the tech industry is kind of in its own world, but, trying to bring in talent from other places or grow homegrown talent here, I think is really the pressure point for them. Everybody's looking to hire kind of at all levels. My goal personally would be for us to find ways to help our school systems connect young people to the skills that they need to be able to actually work at some of these great tech companies that are here, so that we're not always having to look outside of our community. But it is, the growth of the tech industry leads to questions to the chamber along the lines of, why don't we have direct flights to Boston or Austin or Silicon Valley?
Sure.
And
Those
so
are good questions.
There's sort of that snowball effect that is not just about tech. The tech industry also pays an enormous amount into our hotels here.
Sure.
So, yes, it's a growing industry. I think if you talk to some of those tech companies, they would like more concentration of companies here in that area, because one thing I hear is, if you find a superstar that comes to Charlottesville to work at one of those companies, I think their hesitation is, what if it doesn't work out? There's not another company here that has that kind of...
I mean, similar to like a superstar who was at the Tom Tom Festival and lured from Frederick, Maryland to come to Charlottesville, and what if it doesn't work out at the chamber?
There's no other
But it's
chamber
gonna-
here.
Perfect example.
I took the leap, no question. But I think the tech companies, you might think that they might not want more competition, but that's exactly what they want.
Yeah, they want saturation.
Want more saturation.
Absolutely.
Here. Yep.
So there's another component to that, which is what the show's about: real estate
Housing.
and housing, right? So that they may, where are they going to live, and then something we talk about all the time. You mentioned education, but transportation, and
Yeah.
so that's one of the reasons why I was excited about bringing Elizabeth here, is because this kind of ties this real estate work subject into one kind of neat little bow.
Yeah.
You said you had some comments. Some comments?
Yeah, we do have some comments. So Yonna's watching right now. She says Leadership Charlottesville is an amazing organization, amazing program, opportunity to learn about our communities and become a better community leader. Neil Williamson says this: Elizabeth Cromwell is rocking it. Yesterday's NCBC meeting informed the community about the great work of the Charlottesville Airport. Go, Cho, go. Go, Elizabeth, go.
That came from Neil?
Yes.
I'll tell you what, that's glowing for Neil. That's
And then I put
outstanding.
in parentheses, Neil, come on the show.
There you go. Why would he do that? He can do
Nudge him a little bit.
Well, he's referring to the North Charlottesville Business Council,
Right.
which we had a meeting yesterday, and I don't know, there were 30-some people that came for lunch. So we're
about that a little bit, because I'm not so sure I'm aware of that.
Well, this is what we need to work on.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's what we're
You guys
doing.
are doing a better job of that. I've noticed since you've taken over.
Oh,
your
yeah.
social game has picked up.
Yeah.
Your digital game. I love the chamber member spotlights. They're a little bit more frequent.
Thank you. Yeah,
you're
well-
making the chamber more approachable.
Thank you.
Anytime I see a T-Rex, inflatable T-Rex at the chamber, I know it's a fun place to be. I saw that on social. I think you're really doing a good job of making it more welcoming.
well, you know what? It's not about us. It's about all of you.
Right.
And that's an important shift. I try not to spend all that much time talking about how great the chamber is, because we're only as great as the members we have, and we have a tremendous number of amazing business leaders who volunteer in a board role or to chair our committees and our roundtables. They're the ones who are amazing. So that's who you're seeing in all those spotlights.
Your members, just like us with our clients, are the best evangelists for the organization.
Right, absolutely.
So you were mentioning what was happening at the North Charlottesville Business Council? Is that
Yes.
what it was?
Thank you for
Yes.
getting back there.
Yeah.
'cause-
Yeah. So we have a number of roundtables, and that is one. That is a really interesting one. They launched a number of years ago, I don't think they would disagree that they were sort of a single issue group about 29 North, about Rio Road, definitely about development issues and roads. Now, since that time, I think has sort of been some discussion about, well, what else do we stay as a group? That issue is sort of over right now. And the answer is yeah, there's a lot going on up there. And they, I think, appreciate having a chamber that recognizes, probably the majority of our ribbon cuttings now are up in that area. So we've got growth up there. There's obviously big questions about the shopping mall and all those other kinds of things. And we have chamber members that are smack dab in the middle of that. Mm-hmm. So we're really ramping up the speakers that they have. Neil's right. We had Melinda Crawford from the airport yesterday. She gave a great talk. She talked about the growth in air travel out of that airport that I didn't realize how much it has ramped up year over year, every single year. And that's not the case in other airports across the state.
Well, I'll give a shout out to Cho, because my wife and I do a bit of traveling. And, the rule always was for decades, you went up to IAD or Reagan or National or Richmond. We can now fly out of Charlottesville. We just may have to make a stop in Atlanta or whatever on it, pretty much for the same price. Very different on it, and the availability of the flights. I love getting in and out of the airport. So if you do some traveling, it is, in my opinion, light years ahead. I think you're right. I think there needs to be some better connectors. But I think that's coming along, and they're really trying to work on that.
I think it's really coming along, and what I try to convey to them is we want to help.
Yeah.
The voice of the business community. It's challenging when you want to go to Boston or wherever. If you drive to Richmond or to Dulles, then the folks here at Cho can't show demand. And that's kind of the conundrum, that we're going to have to start showing demand if we want to get those additional routes. And that's hard because people have billable hours. It's going to take you longer to get where you're going. Sure. So there's a little pain to get there, but I think there's a lot of opportunity.
We have a comment about this. Andre Xavier, CEO of CVille Hop-On Tours and the founder of CVille Travel, says, I now only travel from Cho. Leaving on Sunday, I'm on my way to Mexico and love the convenience. He loves what he's hearing with you and has this perspective or question to throw to you. We need a real and large convention center in Charlottesville. We need midweek business as a destination. That is the angle we need to focus on for this community to attract convention and retreats to Charlottesville. I agree with this. He'd like me to throw this to you. Elizabeth, what are your thoughts?
I agree with that also. I think a conference center is probably a more realistic project than a convention center, to convene and gather meetings as opposed to huge trucks of exhibits and that kind of stuff. The UVA has a conference center in the works right now, and there has been some discussion about how much public use or outside use other than the university would be able to, take advantage of that facility. And so I think before the Convention and Visitors Bureau goes any further with trying to push something new, I think we want to understand how UVA's upcoming facility will affect demand.
So there's quite a bit of discussion and movement in this subject. We talk about it at the Planning District Commission, right? We have all the 6 jurisdictions there, but also as a CAR board member, we have our Hillsdale Center, right?
Yeah.
So this is a great facility.
We just moved our board meetings there.
See,
it's
there
fantastic.
you go.
Nice.
There you go. So you're using the actual board. Isn't that a cool boardroom? So we have facilities. I think the question becomes for how much, right? And then if I probably get this wrong, and Neil will correct me or Beth at CAR, but I think we can do maybe 150 people, something like this.
Yeah.
As far as our largest space, but then you have the second component, right? So if we do say, hey, we're going to have this facility, where they're going to stay, right? We're short hotel rooms. I've heard people range numbers from 2,000 to 4,000. But I know we're substantially short hotel rooms. So this is a much larger holistic question. But I will tell you, as far as this northern 29 North roundtable that you're talking about, it's spot on. It's where the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors are looking for their growth area. So my hat's off to you guys for trying to attack that. I'm going to change this maybe a little bit different on it. So what do you see, if any, disruptors on the horizon, right? Something that, may be coming down the pike that could disrupt how we do it. And if it's too loaded of a question, we can skip over it. But it's something that is talked about quite a bit off air and in different conversations that, in our world, right, in the real estate world, everybody thinks possibly these apps and stuff like that. From the Chamber's perspective, do you see anything that is on the horizon that might disrupt how we're currently moving forward?
The word disruptor,
I'll pick a different word.
I kind of liked it. I think there's good disruptors and bad disruptors.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of good disruptors.
Sure.
I like shaking things up and turning them upside down and creating new ways to do things. You mentioned an app.
If you look up the definition of that, that's actually what it means.
Yes,
So
yes. Change.
It's not a negative thing
Right,
so much.
right. So when you mentioned apps, I think that as the business community evolves and as more and more technology is available, personally, I'm seeing people want more of a personal greeting. I think there's ways to connect with people, and just because you can, go for days and days without actually seeing anybody, I think that makes people more eager to kind of reach out, especially a lot of people in the kind of business services industry, your business consulting, your accountants, your, kind of back of house people. I think people want to connect. And I think that's something that we're really good at doing. So I don't see technology evolving in a way that hurts us at all as a chamber or as a business community. I think that's a really good thing. I think when you talk about disruptors, from a political kind of standpoint, I think at the local, regional, and national level, I think businesses rely on consistency.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that can be very disruptive. In my previous community, there were some pretty major political swings back and forth. And I remember being in Annapolis at the State House once, and somebody telling me, we would not invest in your city or county because you all are so litigious. And, you think you have permission to do something, and then a new group of people are elected, and they take that away. And it's all about money, and people don't want to invest in a place where they're not really sure what is going to happen. So, that to me is kind of the potential disruptor in everything we do. We have national elections coming up.
I'm hearing that from some of my clients.
Yeah. Consistency. And even if it's
Locally.
if it's not a decision that you necessarily agree with or think is right for the business community, unpredictability is worse, I think.
I think they've used those exact words.
So we're on the same page.
Well, thank you for tackling that
Respect.
tough question. Well done.
Yeah,
Thank you.
this portion of the show, thanks to Mac Weems State Farm. Mac Weems State Farm is a trusted advisor off Hydraulic Road.
Yeah, Mac's going to come in March. We're going to be talking a little bit about new construction and from the insurance perspective. It's just, again, trusted advisors, local.
Great chamber member.
About to say, great chamber member. So reach out to Mac. She'll take care of all your needs.
Beth
insurance
Hyder
needs.
is watching at the Hillsdale Conference Center. She says it's 200 people we could fit.
Oh, thank you.
I'm loving the show. Neil has put a link to the Hillsdale Conference Center on the stream right now.
Thank you.
Give it a like, give it a share. This question is coming in from Tim, who's watching in Charlottesville, and he says, can you ask Elizabeth what she thinks about Dairy Market and Dairy Central and how it's going to impact Charlottesville?
Oh, you've been presenting some
I have.
stuff about that.
Very, very thoroughly. in
Very
fact.
thoroughly,
And I think I'm very
yes.
much on point. But I'm curious of what your take is on that.
I think it is I'm trying to recall your words. I think you called it a visionary project. I think there's, I think it is a brilliant way of looking at a historic building. And I think, I think this city with its small footprint, there's always going to be tension about, how something new is going to affect the community, the dynamics. Yeah, I think that this project, in my opinion, they've been working very hard at getting local community input. They're creating in there a meeting room that will be used for the community. So I think anything that comes in at that size will create some neighborhood disruptor. It may be a disruptor, but I actually think that there will be hopefully more local employment opportunity. There are certainly some great companies moving into that space, and so I think there's a big upside to that project.
And I think the developer gets it, and he tries to engage with the community instead of forcing something. They're really good at communicating with the community. Again, not everybody will be happy. There may be some situations that somebody's not, but I think if given the opportunity, they will actually engage with that question. Mm-hmm. But that was kind of where I was going with this question about the tech companies, right? So the CoStar's coming in there, which is one of, if not the largest commercial MLS system. I believe, I can't remember the other tech company. You may know, Jerry, off the top of your head.
Yeah, it's a company that's tied to helping folks with diabetes.
There you go.
Yeah, publicly traded company.
There you go. So there's some I believe, and I'm sure they'll chime in on it, but most of their commercial space is full up, I believe.
Not all of it. We're about 40% full.
Got it.
Yeah.
On the Class A or the...
Class A. Class A commercial.
Mm-hmm.
Dexicom Inc. is the other company coming.
Thank you. So, it's going to move forward, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I think they've engaged the community pretty well, and they have some, as you know, I'm passionate about affordable housing. They have some affordable housing units in their apartment complex in there. That being said, as anybody, they can do more, right? So.
Yeah.
And I think they're willing to do more.
Yeah, I think, and I am certainly not a real estate expert, residential real estate expert, but I do think this city, and I don't know if it's zoning issues, but I think there are some creative opportunities with having accessory dwelling units, spaces over garages, and in-law apartments and suites, and I think honestly a lot of people want those. Those are not sort of second-class housing, so I think I'm sort of speaking out of turn because I don't know.
I sit on a national cohort for that, so travel the country to work on that. I can share, the city and the county. It takes time, right, to go through these things, but these are discussions that are having in the background. They really want to engage in this, and there's concerns that have to be addressed, and we're working through that. So I'm excited that I think Michael Payne is going to be sitting on my Regional Housing Partnership Board, which I'm really super excited about. He's also going to be sitting in the spot at the Planning District Commission, which I'm also super excited about, as well as Ned with the chairman of Albemarle County. So we are having these discussions.
Good.
Would I like them to move faster? Absolutely.
Yeah,
but
and if there are other similarly sized cities in the United States that have some best practices or do things really well, that's something else that we're adding at the chamber is annual trips. And so I'm constantly on the lookout for best practices, and I think it's helpful to get people out of their own community, especially when they don't always kind of see eye to eye, to go to a place where you can all agree that, yes, that works really well. And we did that in Frederick. We looked at a building in Chattanooga called the Tomorrow Building that was very small micro units of housing, apartments that we were able to, with shared common dining room, living space. Very successful project in Chattanooga. And we were able to bring a group of people from Frederick down, including, our elected officials, president of a bank who said, I'll finance this tomorrow if you want to do this in Frederick. And they've gotten it done. So
congratulations. So I've personally been out in Seattle and Portland and working with doing this ourselves. So I think when this is over, we probably have to have another cup of coffee. See how I can help.
Absolutely.
James Watson suggests 47,000 square feet planned to be at the center at Belvedere. Consider that for inexpensive events, for hosting your parties, convention needs. This portion of the show will give some props to Mike Bittrick and his team at First Heritage Mortgage. Keith Smith.
They're rock stars, particularly in the new construction. He's working on a couple of projects for us. Reach out. He'll get it done.
We have a question on the stream about office space needs. It seems like we don't have enough supply in this category, Elizabeth. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, man, I think I have to turn this over to the real estate guy. So,
we definitely need space, but it depends on what kind of space. I personally, Yonna and I are trying to look for our own little kind of tiny little office, and that's just hard to find, right? The guys at the Vault are doing great with their co-sharing spaces, but commercial is just hard to come by. It's also it's hard to find the land to do it or the building to do it, right? Then get through all the processes required to construct it. So we're in desperate need of it. I don't know. How do you? I mean, you more in the commercial world than anybody. How do you see that?
I mean, I'm torn on this because the lack of supply is driving tremendous demand for my building here, and we have a ridiculous waiting list for our 24 office spaces, which I love. But the advertising agency and me wants more businesses to come downtown. So I think, yes, we need more office space. I think we're handicapped because we don't have much building that we can convert to office space downtown, and everybody wants to be downtown.
Sure.
So Joffrey Woodruff, with what he's doing with the Center of Developing Entrepreneurs at the Ice Park, Code, he's trying to solve this problem. He was inspired by a gentleman, a visionary in Stanford, and he said, look, we need three things to build an entrepreneurial tech community. We need office space, we need downtown, and we need to be tied to a school of higher education. Well, we have UVA, we have downtown, we're lacking the office space. So he's trying to do this at Code. How do you see Code at the Ice Park impacting this community?
Well, it's interesting for me as a newbie because, we call this the Ice Park, but honestly, for me, it's been a hole in the ground. So I don't have the perspective that people who enjoyed the downtown mall with the Ice Park. I don't know that at the price point for rent for the Code building. I don't know that it's going to
It's not going to be for small business owners.
No, it's not going to shuffle around anybody.
It's not going to solve Yonna and I's problem.
No,
I want a small little place downtown.
Yeah, so my sense is it'll be additive, and it won't be...
well, they'll fill it. There's no doubt about that.
They'll fill it. That's what I mean, that all these people coming in are not going to be moving... from this lovely building, probably to that building.
Joffrey's going to house his portfolio investments in Code, and he's going to build vertical integration by having an accountant, an attorney, some admin, some back-end support, servicing all his businesses in that company, which is going to save them that admin cost. Where I think it's going to be beneficial, just throw this topic out there, is I think it's going to be beneficial for all these restaurants and music venues and storefronts downtown having an extra 400 people with deep pockets going out on lunch break. I love happy hour. Going out on happy hour, going out for drinks, going out to music venues. That's where I think it's going to be a boom. What do you think?
I totally agree with you.
Plus, it's going to attract, right? A beautiful structure in there. You're gonna, Yonna and I are gonna want to walk down the mall because it's just a good place to be, right? So,
Yeah.
so it'll start, in my opinion, anyway, start bringing in, folks from the periphery in to do it, not just the 400 people. So it'll be a multiplier for sure, effect on that. But then again, we go back to the struggle that we were talking about, right? So if we're hiring 400 upper income wage earning folks, right, where we're going to put them? And is that
Plus the 400 to 500 that are coming to Dairy Central.
That's exactly
Plus
right.
the 6,000 people UVA is talking about
That's
hiring.
right. Plus Willow Tree.
Yeah, Willow Tree. Plus Co-Construct.
Plus Co-Construct.
7,000 to 9,000 projected.
That's exactly right. So then,
You're in a good spot, my friend.
well, we are and we aren't, right?
Well, you're saying no supply?
Yeah, there's no inventory, right? And then, which is why I've kind of predicted this coming, kind of saw it happening 3 years ago, and there's a reason why I've been so active on the affordable housing front for the last 3 years, because, let's face it, gentrification is going to get worse.
Oh, much worse.
And I'm passionate about the land trust because it helps stop that. But the reality of it is certain, it's just going to continue, and I'm trying to passionately figure out a way to help that scenario on it. But again, the business guy in me loves it. I got more people coming in, but if I don't have anything to sell, I don't get paid, right? So,
And I think we have to. I kind of want to give a shout out to the DBAC folks, the Downtown Business Association folks. I think
Love those folks.
Yeah, I think they get sometimes. They're in a hard spot because their location is phenomenal, but I know that. Again, I'm kind of speaking out of turn because I don't know a lot about your world, but the assessments of those buildings are going up and up. And
I went up 14%.
yeah,
No bueno.
and it's a pressure point for them. And as these
but how much did your
well-heeled,
appraised value go up?
Well, here's another thing, and this is a completely topic for another show. I have triple net leases.
I thought I controlled the topic.
This is a triple net lease.
Okay,
I
yeah.
don't pay the taxes.
Yeah,
They're passed down to the
got
tenants.
Got it.
So we're talking about affordable. This is impacting the people.
Sure.
It
Absolutely.
stinks.
So I'll get on a bit of a soapbox about the downtown mall. Man, we need some chairs for people to sit in. I just don't get it. I like to wander the mall. Everybody, at least I can do my business on this. And it's hard to find a seat to sit down on and just cross my legs and send some emails and have a cup of coffee and engage with people. So I know there's some discussions about that. I know you're pretty passionate about that subject, but to me, I think we need a considerable amount of more of community space on the downtown mall, so somebody like me can sit down.
3% of the seating on the downtown mall is for public consumption. The rest is for private consumption, i.e., pay to play. What are your thoughts on this topic here? I see.
You're smiling.
I see both sides of this topic.
I just thought I'd throw a little.
I see both sides of it
Yeah.
too. I did not know that percentage. I do know that I feel like I have to buy something if I want to sit on the downtown mall, which I think is what you're saying.
It's a barrier of entry.
Yeah. And I guess I see both sides of it too.
Yeah.
I do think it would be lovely to have more seating. I guess I come down more on that side. But I understand. I mean, we're dealing, back in my previous community, we have a beautiful Carroll Creek Linear Park, which is hundreds of millions of dollars spent to make this beautiful downtown park. And they're kind of struggling with the same issues. There are folks down there that are, unfortunately participating in drug use and illegal activity. And they're trying to figure out what's the balance, everybody deserves to be in a park. And so it's an urban challenge for a lot of cities.
And interestingly, the downtown mall is designated as a public park.
That's exactly why I'm saying what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
it's designated as a public
That's
park.
exactly right.
The tough part was when we did have more seating, and I've been downtown for 16 years. There was a very homeless contingent that was sitting in the public seating.
Yeah.
And it was scaring away customers from the cafes downtown. So it's a catch-22 subject. It's a very, very dynamic subject.
I get it. It's just,
Yeah.
I just think there's more spaces to sit down. And
Yeah, I agree
I've
with
shared
you.
pictures
I
with
agree
you.
with
I've sat down next to a homeless person. Hey, man, how you doing? And I start working on my...
Not everyone is a dapper Don from Brooklyn, though, Keith. You have some moxie that a lot of folks don't. Is that safe to say?
I don't know about that, but
You'll talk to anybody.
I'll talk to anybody.
You ain't scared of nobody.
I'm talking to you.
Right.
So,
You're a Marine.
Well, yeah. But, it's just common decency. That's all, How you doing? What's going on? If he asks you for some money, I'm sorry, I don't have any cash. Just have a great day. You just keep on doing your thing, but, don't discard them. Don't say
Sure.
that they're not there or whatever. Just,
Of course.
just be respectful. And, and if they are disrespectful back to you, then you just get up and walk away.
Touché.
But I do that repetitively, and nobody's ever been disrespectful to me. They'll just say, "How you doing, man?" So, doing good. Have a great day, and that's it. But that's just me. So.
How about we give some love to Pearl Certification?
Yeah, so they're coming into March. I mentioned this, I think, last Friday. There's a whole new program they're doing, and I'm excited to do it. They purposely have not told me the specifics.
Ooh.
Well, it's probably because I'll end up
Spill the beans.
just like I did my address, right? so yeah, I'm just excited about having them here.
You're watching the clock, aren't
I'm
you?
watching the clock because I want to get some fun in.
We run the gauntlet at the end of the show.
Uh-oh.
Has he told you this?
Uh-oh.
We
Nope.
fire heavy-hitting questions to you.
I'm leaving right
And
No,
you
no,
have
no.
no time to think.
now. Okay.
And you got to fire right away. You going to start with the gauntlet, or you want me to start?
Well, who did we not thank today? I think we missed a couple.
Charlottesville Settlement Company.
That's right,
I was
yeah.
going to tie them in.
Thank you. I actually sat down with Katie West. I think it was on Wednesday. We did a seminar at UVA Credit Union, and she's a rock star. So reach out to them. And then, of course, Roy Wheeler.
Yeah, absolutely. First question of the gauntlet. So the whole concept is we fire questions at you. You give us the first answer that comes to mind. Some are easier, some are more difficult. I usually start with the easy one for you.
Okay.
It's not going to be that hard.
All right.
First question for you. Your favorite place to go. You work really hard. We all do. We like to unwind. Your favorite place to go for a beverage, an adult beverage. What's that adult beverage, and where are you going?
Wow.
She's old enough, right, to drink?
You want to know You're very kind. I get the senior discount. You
geez.
want to know the first place I thought of?
Yeah.
I thought of Afton Mountain Vineyard.
Really?
Wow.
For
Yeah,
their
drive a little
wine.
bit there.
I don't care.
Okay.
You asked me where I want to
That's-
go.
that's
That's where I
two.
want to go.
Well, and there.
Yeah, yeah. Afton's great. The Smiths run a phenomenal
Yeah.
vineyard.
Yep. It's beautiful.
I don't think I've ever asked you that question. What is yours go-to place and drink?
If I'm with my wife, we like to go to C&O Downstairs Bar.
There you go.
She likes the martinis at Zocalo. If I'm with myself, I love bourbon, as you can see by my bar over there, and I go to the Whiskey Jar. Oftentimes I'm working 70 hours a week, so if I'm having a beverage, it's right there at that desk while I'm watching the stock market close.
I
So that's
didn't
why
know that. I'm right across the street.
Come on over.
Hello.
Come on, full bar.
All right. I'm
So
in.
give
I'm
the
in.
statistic.
This is my
about
new
guests.
favorite place to grab a drink.
30% of the guests that join us on the I Love CVille Network, Judy, you would say 3 out of 10? 3 out of 10 are ripping a shot before they come on air,
What?
just to settle their nerves.
And 100% of the hosts do it. Everyone.
Hey, if they say yes,
Just think
I'm
how
not
much
saying
better
no.
I would have been.
You've been phenomenal. What is your question?
So, what talent or gift that you don't currently possess that you wish you did? Talent or gift?
You have a lot.
What talent or gift? No, I don't have that many. What talent or gift? I wish I was a good singer or
There you go.
musician.
Well done.
My daughter is studying voice right now. She is a very talented singer, and I don't know where that came from. It did not come from her parents.
So I think if you Google that, like over 80+% that are asked that question, it is always something musically.
Really?
Musical, right. Yeah, I
Ah,
want to play an
okay.
instrument, piano,
So I'm
or
normal.
sing, or... Well, we didn't say that. but
That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Favorite
Outstanding.
restaurant in Charlottesville, Virginia, and why? Say, I'm gonna go city limits over here, Explorer.
I know. Well, it's
City limits, Explorer.
one thing
walking,
that's
let's try it differently. Walking distance from your office.
Okay.
all right, and it's hard for me to do this because we need more restaurant chamber members.
Good.
So my inclination would be to give out a shout out to
Okay, I'll help you here.
Hamilton's,
A
who's great
chamber member and a non-chamber member.
All right. I really enjoy Hamilton's.
It's a good one.
I was introduced to Lampo,
Great one.
which I very much enjoyed.
One of the owners is watching right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lauren.
really?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I
Join
really
the-
like their food.
Join the chamber.
Join the chamber. And I don't know, maybe they're a member of the chamber. We have hundreds, so I'm not sure.
We-
But anyway, I've quite enjoyed that Moss.
That's good.
Quite
Good
enjoy.
taste.
Thank you. Well, 25 pounds worth, I told you.
Yeah. Yonna and I, after this event that we did on Wednesday, I guess it was like 8:30, 8:45. I was like, where do you want to go? And we beelined it to Lampco and had one of their prosciutto pizzas and a couple of Negronis. And it was a good evening.
Did you have to wait?
I did not.
Did you sit at the bar?
I did not.
Nice.
We did not. We timed that about as perfect as you can time it. So
Was it a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night?
It was a Wednesday night.
There you go, smart man. That's insider knowledge right there.
I don't know about smart. It just happened to be hungry and I go, let's go to Lampco.
When I've had a long day and I don't really want to talk to anybody, I go to Moss and have a sangria and have the bacon wrap.
Bacon wrap dates.
Dates.
Sit at the bar.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Watch them cook. You
Yep.
get left alone.
Yep.
There you go.
Mostly.
Yeah. Bacon wrap dates are the bomb.
They're
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
We had a couple of guests clients in from overseas, from Europe, last week. And it just astounded them how many, top restaurants and places we have here versus the number of people, right? So it makes it a little difficult, to survive.
Sure.
Because,
Want to hear a crazy stat?
Sure.
14 most restaurants per capita in the city, country, the city of Charlottesville.
Really?
Try that again.
14, we are ranked 14th
In the
nationwide.
country. Wow.
Nationwide, restaurants per capita.
Wow.
City of Charlottesville.
Wow.
10.27 square miles. Two most competitive business categories in Charlottesville. Restaurants and
Probably my business.
real estate agents. Undoubtedly. How many in yours?
1,300?
Right?
Oh, yeah, sure.
1,300. Think about that. Those are the two most competitive.
1,300, and Neil will probably correct the number. I believe in the 6 jurisdictions we're roughly 250,000 people. So
That is a ton.
that is
Yeah,
a
it is.
ton. That's a ton.
So yours is probably more competitive than restaurants. Realtors.
Look, everybody does a great job. All the real estate agents are pros, so it works out. It works out well. Some are higher producing than others and stuff like that. So let's see. You're on a deserted island, and you're only allowed to bring one book with you. Have you watched the full show before? Because this is a standard question.
Oh, crap.
So you're
Oops,
crap.
sorry.
It's okay. There's no FCC
Say
rules.
crap.
Totally no
I
FCC
say
rules.
much worse.
But I got to tell you, I now really like you.
Elizabeth.
Pardon my French.
I didn't realize that was French. Deserted island.
Deserted
one
island,
book.
one.
Quick top of your head. It's a bit of a trick question. It's just a deserted island. One book. You're by yourself.
Well, I'm thinking about the deserted island and what my mood's like. I don't want
You're working your way there.
Yeah. I probably want some kind of guide to put together.
There you go. Bravo.
hut.
Close enough. Close enough. You are number 3,
Yeah.
right?
We've asked this question probably,
To every guest.
60 times?
Yep. Only 3 got it.
Yeah.
2 of them are Marines, right? And then yourself. Am I right? Do I
Yeah.
get that count right?
Yeah.
So
There's actually a right answer to that question.
there's no right.
There's a more right.
There's a more right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would definitely be a how-to manual.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. So there you go. It's like how to survive.
How to make water, all that
Right.
kind of stuff.
How to live.
How to
Marine,
live.
a
Yeah.
survival manual, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm on a
kinda like a
deserted
Boy
island.
Scout,
I
I
want to live.
guess.
I think she gets. That's right. She's in the
I got
category,
it.
right?
I got it. She's
That makes
one
me an
of 3.
honorary Marine.
Yeah. That makes you in the upper 5%
Well,
of producers on the show. Think
I think
about
you
that.
get like
Wow.
you get a star somewhere,
Yeah.
All
or a
right.
drink, whichever one you would.
Elijah Craig.
Whichever you
You crushed it. This was good. How about this? Give you an opportunity for all the folks that are watching, a lot of
There you
business
go.
owners now, to get involved with the Charlottesville Chamber of Commerce.
well, thank you again for having me on and all the kind words about the chamber. I think probably my takeaway for people is to, first of all, I'd encourage you to take a look at our website, CVilleChamber.com. And if you've been a member of the chamber in the past and you felt like for whatever reason you stepped back away from it, I would offer you the opportunity to come back and give it another try because we're changing a lot of things. And the chamber's done some great work in the past, but it's certainly an evolution. And so we're kind of evolving right now. And as we change and grow, I want to know what people think. So we want to make it the kind of organization that people feel like they want to get involved with, that we're doing things that are productive and helpful for the overall business community. So, open invitation, open door. Please come in and let us know what you think. And we'd love to have you as a member.
Love it.
So a rock star, right?
Yeah.
So thank you,
Thank you.
and thank you. We were one of those members, right? We were a member, and then we weren't, and then I think we are again, but I have to check with the boss. If we're not, we will be in about 20 minutes.
And,
So,
people's businesses evolve. So when
Yeah.
the time is right, we're there and
Yeah.
we're ready to help.
well, give it, check them out. You guys won't regret it. Next week,
Yeah.
we're pivoting a little bit into new construction.
Nice.
So we're going to have the current president of the Blue Ridge Home Builders Association in the past, and we're going to talk a little bit about the new construction market, and that'll kind of be the February's topic focus. So
Love it.
looking forward
It's a great
to it.
topic. This is Real Talk. It's powered by the Yes Team. He is one half of the Yes Team. Well,
One
what's
eighth.
the One eighth.
One
Okay,
eighth.
the 1/8 of the Yes
Let's
Team.
get carried away.
Yonna Smith is 7/8 of the Yes Team. Trusted advisors in the real estate game in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. Real Talk airs on the I Love CVille Network Fridays at 10:15 to have a good weekend. Take care, guys. Good job.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That was fun.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you. What a great opportunity. I appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Got one more thing to do. We're going to take a photo with you over here.
Take a pic.
And then we'll go from there.